The Rays just unveiled one of the most ambitious and most unsettling stadium plans Florida has ever seen.
In the coming days, you'll see the first renderings of our new development and ballpark, the new forever home of the Tampa Bay Rays.
To understand why this announcement hits such a nerve, especially when it quietly hinges on a massive public funding commitment, you have to understand how this franchise's identity has always been tied to a few specific points on the map, places that shape loyalties, politics, and the entire conversation around baseball in Tampa Bay.
There's a drive hit deep to left for Bobby Smith. That ball is gone. Book it.
Because the truth is, the Rays stadium fight didn't begin with the wreckage caused by Hurricane Milton. It didn't begin with a failed deal in St. Petersburg or even with the Rays themselves. It started years before the franchise existed, when St. Petersburg built an entire stadium on speculation, an architectural draw meant to pull Major League Baseball to the area. Tropicana Field opened as the Florida Suncoast Dome in March of 1990, at a cost of $138 million. It was a Major League home waiting for a Major League tenant. For years, the region chased baseball through failed relocation bids and expansion pitches. Then, in 1995, MLB finally awarded Tampa Bay a franchise, and just weeks later, the new club signed a 30-year lease with the city of St. Petersburg to play in what was then called the Thunderdome.
Fans anticipating this moment. For years they've been anticipating this moment.
Long before the first pitch in 1998, the geography of this franchise, and the tension that comes with it, was already locked in. So you had this team called Tampa Bay fixed in a home in St. Petersburg. On paper, that may not sound like a major distinction, but it kind of defined the franchise from day one. Tampa Bay is a single media market in a single regional identity, but it's far from a single urban core. It's a metro divided by water, joined by bridges, and defined by how inconvenient it can be to cross from one side to the other. Pretty obvious why this is a big deal, but let's talk about some data to back this up. Hillsborough County climbed to just short of 1.6 million people in 2024, up a little over 8% since 2020. And Pinellas County reached 966,000, growing just 0.7% in the same span. The larger, faster-growing side of the Bay wasn't the side where the team played, and that meant that more and more fans were being asked to make that cross-Bay trip 81 times a year. Over the years, the franchise kept searching for what they thought was a better answer. Under Stu Sternberg, the club explored the Al Lang site in downtown St. Petersburg in 2007, pushed an Ybor City concept in Tampa in 2018, and then circled back to the land next to Tropicana Field with the St. Petersburg plan announced in 2023. That 2023 deal looked for a while like the franchise's final answer. In September of that year, the Rays, St. Petersburg, and Pinellas County announced an agreement for a new $1.3 billion ballpark as part of the larger 86-acre historic gas plant district redevelopment, a topic I previously made a video on. The stadium was planned as a roughly 30,000-seat fixed-roof home that would open for the 2028 season, with the wider redevelopment pitched as one of the biggest projects in the city's history. In July of 2024, the City Council and the County Commission approved the project, clearing the votes needed for it to move forward. And construction was supposed to begin in January of 2025. Then Hurricane Milton hit, and the entire story changed. The storm tore apart Tropicana Field's fabric roof in October of 2024, exposing the inside of the dome. Once the roof was gone, the bigger deal around it started to come apart too. In March of 2025, the Rays formally withdrew from the agreement in St. Petersburg. The club's public explanation was that a series of events beginning in October had made the project impossible to continue. It was reported that the storm damage, financing delays, and the cost increases that followed those delays all contributed to the decision. So now the team was no longer moving toward a new stadium in St. Petersburg. It was back in search mode. And suddenly, Tampa seemed to be the most obvious place to test a different future. Forced out of the Trop while repairs continued, the Rays spent the entire 2025 season playing in Tampa at the Yankees ballpark for spring training, Steinbrenner Field. It was a strange season. The team drew a total of 787,000 fans in a park with a capacity of just over 10,000. They sold out 61 of 81 home dates and dealt with 17 rain delays over 16 games because for the first time in franchise history, home baseball was being played outside under the Florida sky. None of what I've mentioned proved that Tampa is automatically the perfect long-term answer, but it did something politically and psychologically important. It made Tampa feel like a real home for the team, not just a talking point. By the fall of 2025, the franchise itself changed hands. On September 30th, a new group officially closed on its purchase of the Rays, ending Stu Sternberg's tenure as controlling owner. In January of 2026, the Hillsborough College Board unanimously approved a non-binding agreement with the Rays, a first step toward developing the school's Dale Mabry campus. It's sat very close to Tampa International Airport, right across from Raymond James Stadium, and just south of Steinbrenner Field. This was a piece of land inside an existing sports corridor in a part of the region that already feels like a major league district. Renderings released in early 2026 show a 31,000-seat domed stadium, a triangular building with a transparent roof that brings in natural light while still protecting games from Florida weather. But before anything else, look at that number, 31,000. When excluding the 2 interim stadiums, that would make this the smallest ballpark in Major League Baseball by a wide margin. And while the team might call that intimate, it reflects a broader shift in stadium design, one that leans harder toward premium spaces and higher-end fans. But I've discussed this in several other videos, so I won't go down that rabbit hole here. The broader plan stretches across roughly 130 acres, and it's organized into 4 distinct zones. The ballpark sits in what the team calls Champions Corridor, the southwest section where baseball, entertainment, and event activity are meant to concentrate. To the east and north is Innovation Edge, pitched as a hub for learning, health, performance, and discovery, anchored by a rebuilt and expanded Hillsborough College. The canopy is a greener, neighborhood-style area with bars, restaurants, retail, residential uses, and shaded public spaces. Lastly is the Row, a signature street meant to tie the entire district together. The Rays have been careful with their wording here. They've said the broader mixed-use development would be 100% privately financed, but they have not said the same thing about the ballpark itself. On the stadium, the team has consistently described the project as a public-private partnership, with costs to be shared between the Rays, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa. That distinction really matters because it gets right to why the last deal in St. Petersburg became so contested. Under the 2024 agreement for the failed $1.3 billion ballpark, the Rays were set to contribute $700 million, while St. Petersburg and Pinellas County would contribute roughly $300 million each toward the stadium, with the city also committing separate infrastructure spending tied to the larger redevelopment. Today, the club points to an analysis projecting $34 billion in impact and 10 million visitors a year. Hillsborough College ties the plan to new facilities and opportunities for more than 45,000 students. Whether those numbers hold is another debate, because every sports team seems to publish expected statistics similar to this. The point is the scale. The Rays are pitching a new center of gravity for the region. So what will they expect in public funding here? While we don't have a final number, the Rays have told county officials they are willing to pay at least half of the ballpark cost. And with the stadium now being discussed at over $2.3 billion, we could be talking about well over $1 billion in public money. Even putting the cost debate to the side, the site does come with some other problems. The Dale Mabry corridor already deals with major event traffic around Raymond James Stadium, and adding a full-time MLB ballpark there would raise obvious questions about parking, access, and how the area handles another 81-game home schedule. Now, to be fair, the NFL and MLB calendars don't overlap that much in practice. MLB's regular season runs from late March to late September, while the NFL regular season doesn't begin until September. So the true overlap is relatively limited. But even with that caveat, people are still going to look at this site and ask whether the area can absorb another major venue without creating a different kind of bottleneck right where the stadium would sit. And I just want to make this very clear that this project is still only a proposal. Before anything gets built, it still has to pass through final approvals from the Hillsborough College Board, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa. And just as importantly, Tropicana Field is not gone yet. The Rays have returned there for the 2026 season, and the team's use agreement now runs through the end of 2028 because the stadium was unusable in 2025. So if you want to understand what Hurricane Milton really changed, it wasn't just the roofline of Tropicana Field. It ended the idea that a St. Petersburg solution was inevitable, forced a temporary season in Tampa, and sped up the search for a new home that actually fits how the Rays now see the region. The new ballpark plan still faces hurdles, but its purpose is already clear: to finally answer the question the franchise has carried since day one. When the Tampa Bay Rays say they belong to the whole bay, which side of the water is supposed to feel like home? I'm Josh, this is Buildcore, thanks for watching.